Hey everybody, Allie here with Zero Waste Bakersfield. Now, we had a fantastic opportunity earlier this week to appear on our local morning news and talk about some of the ways that you can reduce your waste when it comes to the holidays. Basically, the idea was that if you're interested in making your own holiday gifts, now's a great time to start. It was part of a whole Christmas in July segment. And it was based off of a post that I did where I talked about a commitment that I made last year to make all of my holiday gifts at home rather than buying anything new. So there were a couple of things featured in the post, and I didn't really get a chance to talk about them on the newscast, and I prepared so many different things that I also didn't get a chance to talk about on the newscast. So today I wanted to go through some of the options that we have and see if any of these might be a good fit for you. Again, the earlier you start, the easier it's going to be. I made the mistake of, one, committing to doing all of my holiday gifts from scratch last year, and two, waiting until the end of November to get started. So, let's go over, first of all, what we had in the post, and two, some of the options that I had that we didn't really get a chance to go over. So first of all, the post featured 3 different items. The first thing was infused vodka. Now I made that for a friend of mine, and it's one of the simplest things that you can do. Infused liquors of any kind. You can infuse vodka, but you can also infuse gin, or you can do Everclear if you're really going hard. Basically, the clear alcohols work best. I've done infused brandies. It's not the worst. I did a cherry-infused brandy and a cherry-infused whiskey with some fresh cherries that I had on hand last summer. But basically, all I did for this one, it was a citrus vodkas, and all you really have to do is get your fresh produce, clean it really well, thinly slice it, put it in a jar, and then just top it off with vodka and let it sit. So I did orange, lemon, and key lime. So basically I just let those sit for a couple of weeks and then strained them out, bottled them. I had some adorable bottles left over from a wine advent calendar that I had, so that's where those tiny wine bottles came from. But again, you don't even have to do that. Just you can do like a cute little jar, or if you want to go to like a craft store, they have tons of food safe bottles available there. All of those are options. So that's one really easy thing that you can do. Another thing that I did was something that was really close to my heart. My grandfather was a military man early in his life, and he had a shoe shine box, a wooden shoe shine box that he bought before he joined the military. And it has just been sitting under my bathroom sink for years now, just getting water damaged, getting beat up, getting abused. So my best friend has to wear shined shoes for work, and I thought it would be a really neat gift for him. So what I had to do was, basically I got this box, I had to take it apart, which was really easy. It's just some screws. Sanded everything down, and then refinished it, reassembled it, and I put a little monogram on the front. So it has a lot of bang for your buck in terms of it being impressive, in terms of the fact that really all I had to spend on it was like $4 for a can of stain, and it came out looking really beautiful. It's a prestige piece that's going to hold its value and look great for years to come. So I'm assuming most of you don't have random shoe shine boxes hanging out under your sink. So look at antique stores, look at craft stores. Think about the sort of things that you can do to personalize something to someone else. These are all going to be really awesome things to receive and to hold on to for a long time. Now the last thing I did was more of a combination gift. Essentially, I made some jewelry for my grandmother. I love making jewelry, I've done it for a long time. But I didn't just want to give it in a bag or a standard box. I wanted to give it in something that would be sort of a gift in and of itself. So what I did is I got a box from a craft store, just one of those like stain it yourself kind of boxes. They're usually about $3. and I stained it myself. I sealed it up, and then I velvet lined it. So the idea is that once she gets it, it'll be a jewelry box that she can continue to use. There are two boxes in the picture, and the other one kind of feeds into what I wanted to talk about, which is gifts of service. Now, one of the things that I had on hand was years and years, I'm talking 45, 50 years of slides that my grandparents had taken on their many, many trips around the world, as well as just sort of at-home photos of my mom growing up, all those kind of fun things. But they were in slide form. So what I decided to do was I got a cheap little slide converter. I got it on Amazon for like $30, and I scanned every single one of those slides and put them on a thumb drive for my grandmother. So my grandmother's two gifts, both in homemade/home-stained boxes, were the jewelry that I made her and these slides. Now, she spent a lot of time looking through the slides. It turned out that was something that she really, really enjoyed. It was a really good gift for her. So think about the things that you can do that will impact someone's heart. All that being said, sometimes we need to come up with stocking stuffers, filler gifts, things for our coworkers, that kind of thing. So that's a lot of what I'm going to talk about today. The things that I didn't really get a chance to show on the news segment. So let's start with kind of the bath and body stuff. Now, I did talk a little bit about soap, actually more than I meant to talk about soap, on the newscast, but it's worth revisiting just because of how simple it is. Essentially, I used a melt and pour soap, and you can get it in all kinds of different bases. You can get it in like a soy base or a glycerin base, which is clear, goat's milk, coconut milk. There's all kinds of different sort of bases that you can get, but they all basically work the same. You melt them in your microwave, you mix in whatever you want, whether that's like, you can do honey to a certain extent, you can do oatmeal, cinnamon, different colorants, different scents. You can get pre-made soap scents. I did all kinds of stuff. So a couple of the ones that I did, this was one that I did, this is the milk and honey, and basically I happen to have this cute little bee soap mold. You don't have to have that. It was just cute, and I like cute things. So this was one, the milk and honey. That's a goat's milk base with honey added to it. I did this other one, which I called Winter Night. It's basically like a pumpkin spice smell. So what I added to this was pumpkin pie spice, just from the pantry, like pumpkin pie spice mix. It's really easy. If you get like a mold, a lot of times it'll come with these like cool little cutters. So that's what I used for this. Made an entire loaf of it. Again, you can make a ton of soap from like one $10 box of this melt and pour soap. Give it to everyone. And this is just wrapped in a piece of scrapbook paper. That's all that is. I made this little band out of scrapbook paper. So, use what you have. Now, another thing that's kind of in that same vein is candles. You can get basically a melt and pour candle that you can, again, scent however you want, color however you want. Now, I had a ton of fun making all different kinds of scents. Part of what I did was melt down all these old, your candles burn down, and a lot of times you wind up with that big ring of wax around the outside. A big part of what I used was just melting those down and re-pouring them. I did them in these little jars. These are just canning jars, they're the Ball brand canning jars. And then I just printed, I used my Cricut to write these. But if you've got good handwriting, go for it. But just named them all these different things. Baking cookies is a cookie scented one. Let's see, this one is Wonderland. I don't even remember what this one is. I've got so many of these. Still got a ton of them on hand. Oh, okay, so that is like a wintry, kind of spicy, something like that. And then literally just tied a piece of this cute string around it, tied a little tag on. That's a gift right there. And again, because I did this, a hand-poured candle just for you. It's a homemade gift. It looks like a homemade gift because it is a homemade gift. Now, to finish out our bath and body stuff, there are a couple of quick things that I just wanted to go through. firstly, we have lotion bars. Now these are little minis that I made. I had a candy mold, which is why they're so tiny. But basically it's just a little heart, it's upside down, just a little heart-shaped lotion bar. You would just rub it on your skin and then rub it in, and then just package them in a cute jar. You could do another little ribbon around this, a little bow, something like that. All these recipes are available on our Pinterest, pinterest.com/Zero Waste Bakersfield. I set up a board that is just for homemade gifts, so go ahead and take a look at that if you're curious. And lastly, this is a sugar scrub. Now, sugar scrub is about the easiest thing that you can possibly make. It's a combination of sugar and melted coconut oil, and you basically just combine it until it feels right. There's really no way to get it wrong. You can find specific recipes, but honestly, the simplest thing is just put a bunch of sugar in a bowl, add coconut oil to it, and kind of just mush it up until it feels like it's the right consistency. Now this one also has lavender buds added to it, so it has a nice lavender scent, but you could also add different like scent oils. Make sure anything that you use is body safe, because some things are and some things aren't. Or you could add like a food coloring to it, so you can make it all sorts of different colors. Again, just don't add too much because you don't want whoever's using it to stain themselves. A good way to test that is just make a little extra and try it on yourself. But again, that's just another really, really simple thing you can make in huge batches at very low cost. And just package it up in kind of a cute way. Done. Simple. Now, leaving the realm of the bath and body stuff, the next couple of projects I want to talk about involve the same base material, which is something like this. This is a faux leather wide ribbon. It's 8 inches wide by 24 inches long. It comes in all kinds of different colors, different finishes, and it's about $5 a roll. And frequently you can get it for cheaper than that if you get it on sale. So I did briefly show these on the newscast, but I didn't really get a chance to get into them. Also, my lighting was terrible. But these are those faux leather earrings that people like Joanna Gaines have made really popular over the last few years. Now, hers are probably actually leather, but one, I don't do leather, and two, it's really expensive. So these are incredibly simple. This pair took about 5 minutes to make, honestly. You just cut them out to the shape that you want to, poke a hole in them, and put your little ear wire in here. And because it comes in so many different colors and patterns, and because if you look at it, we've got our roll here, look at how little of it is used for each one. One of these will make 30 pairs, probably more. So this is a fun little gift actually for a friend of mine, Zero Waste Bakersfield Ambassador Bethany Rice. For this past year, I made a set of 3 different patterns and put them on a card like this, except a long one, because I had all 3 on there, and gave them as a gift. And it was really, really simple, but they came out great. And they come out super cute, and again, super simple. And these are things that you can involve your kids in as well. Most of these things are things that you can involve your kids in as well if you're looking for ways to keep them busy. The next thing, again, super simple, are these leather tassel keychains that you see everywhere. I did the rose gold with a top black band. You just, sort of cut your strips. You cut one long strip and then cut it into tassels, roll it, add your top band if you want to, and then just a couple of dots of hot glue to hold it all together. And then I added the key ring at the top of it. So simple, so easy. These sell for $10, $12. They cost about 30 cents to make. And again, you can just put it on a little thing. You could write, something nice at the top. You hold the key to my heart. I don't know, something. It's totally off the top of my head. Lastly, in this category, hair ties. Now, these are everywhere. They're really nice because they don't dent your hair. Again, they are so incredibly easy and cheap to make. Basically, you go to a craft store. Actually, I've found a fair number of different options even at Walmart in their craft section. You cut it to about the length that you want, tie it off, cut the ends into like this diagonal slant, and then I like to run a lighter over it real quick. It's seriously super quick. just so that the ends don't fray. And then I put them together into these little sets that kind of match. They're all just, nice and stretchy, won't dent your hair. Great for the ladies in your life. And again, one roll of this elastic, which is like $3-ish, will make about 10 of these. So you can get really creative, do all kinds of fun stuff, maybe even add a little pom-pom to it if you want. Okay, that's on you. I like the more simple look. I promise I had hair when I made these. And lastly, for the gifts themselves, I want to encourage thinking outside the box. Now, I did show this on the newscast. I didn't really get a chance to explain what was going on with it, but basically, there's a girl here in town. Her name's Jason. She's 11 years old, or at least she was at the time that she made this. She saw in a store a macrame owl wall hanging, and she really liked it, but it was crazy expensive. So she goes home, she goes online, looks at YouTube tutorials, which, as I pointed out in my repair kit video, YouTube is going to be your best resource for a ton of this stuff. And she figured out how to make one herself from reclaimed yarn, from some buttons that her mom had off of an old dress, and from a stick she found in her backyard. Now, I'm a big fan of this. I think I've got some of my cat hair on it. Sorry, Jason. But it's a skill that she learned to do this. So creativity is super fantastic. And again, think about what you want to give and see if there's a way for you to make it yourself, because probably someone else has tried it and there is an option. Lastly, I just wanted to close out on a couple of zero waste gift wrapping methods. So I have a couple to show you. So first one is something like this. This is literally a paper grocery bag that has just been cut and wrapped like standard wrapping, and then a nice fabric bow tied on top. Super simple. The wrapping would be compostable because it is just a paper grocery bag. So that's one option. I mean, we've always heard about people like using old newspapers to wrap presents. There's nothing wrong with that either. I just like the look of this because it's a little cleaner and I can decorate it however I want. And then we have something like this. Don't mind my terrible bow tying skills. I swear I'm better at it sometimes. So this is reusable wrapping paper. Now I actually made this one. This is a piece of cloth, and I got a stamp that I liked for a gem. And then just wrapped presents in that, and it's completely reusable. In fact, the person who I gave the present to wrapped in this brought it back to me to help me with this segment. So you can reuse it over and over and over again. Now, if you don't want to make your own, there are companies who specialize in these sorts of wrappings. I like to recommend a company called the Fab Wrap. They sell on Etsy. All of their wraps, which are these heavy cloth wraps, are hand painted. It's a company that's run by 2 women. They do everything themselves, and that's available on Etsy for you. The prices are actually really, really reasonable, and a lot of times they have like promo codes, so it makes them even cheaper. I have a huge stash of the Fab Wrap. Now, the last thing is sometimes you have gifts that aren't exactly box shaped. They would be gifts that you would give in a bag. When I was wrapping my presents last year, I went and bought a bunch of this net tool, and I love this because it has a bit of structure on its own. It can stand up a little bit for itself. I have it in a ton of different colors, but basically I have a reusable bag. This is a little one, but I got specifically for wrapping gifts. You just put whatever you want in there. You can wrap it in the tool if you want. You can wrap it in another piece of fabric. Do this just like you would do tissue paper, and there you have your completely reusable gift bag. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to talking to you all next time. Thank you. Bye.